Welcome to episode 15 of Drew's Basketball Crew. Here on this Saturday morning, myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you your winning lineup on Fantasia Sports. Again, that lineup will be posted on social media at Drew Sports Crew for the Instagram and TikTok. You'll find it there. You'll find it on YouTube as well. YouTube Shorts is where you'll find that lineup. But look, it's an exciting day here, exciting slate of basketball on Saturday, January 28th. So we have a good chunk of games here. They start at 2 o'clock today, so keep that in mind when you're making your lineups. But this is going to be a great slate. Let's get right into it here. We got Denver. They are going to Philadelphia to face the 76ers. And the injury report everyone's monitoring is Nikola Jokic playing. I think he is. Looks like he is good to go. So keep that in mind. Embiid's also a game time decision. Sounds like he'll play too, is what I've seen. Basically everyone's going to be playing in this one. I think Jamal Murray's the one potentially on the fence. Not sure, but if you want to take Jokic in this one, go for it. If you want to take I'm looking at the stars in this game, this primetime game. It's going to be on ESPN, I believe, ABC actually. So check that out. I'm more looking at this New York-Brooklyn game. We're going to see a lot more value in this one. Starting, right, Mitchell Robinson's out again. So right away I go to Julius Randle, Jericho Sims. Nick Claxton's been phenomenal this year. He's been on a tear. So if you want to take Claxton, this is another great matchup. So I'm fine with taking Claxton, another ride the hot hand. Otherwise, for Brooklyn, I'd be looking at Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving. Those two guys, I think, are going to be right that backcourt. It's probably going to be a good bet. I don't like what Brunson brings defensively. Depending on depends on minutes too. But I think that's going to be your bet. I would still keep in mind Jericho Sims just because of the value potentially, depending on salary. We're going to get more value though. It's the real one here is Houston, Detroit. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, both out. When both those guys are out, you see Ty Washington, the starter there. Again, depending where you're playing, right? We'll be on Fantasia Sports, but value-wise, could be some awesome value there. So Ty Washington, keep his name in mind. You have to take Alperen Şengün, 2 at center. Hopefully it's like too outrageous where you're playing, but really, they're running the offense through him when Green and Porter are out, and guess what? They're out. They've been running the offense with those two playing somewhat, so I'm just excited to see what we get out of Şengün today. That game is at 6 o'clock tip. Alec Burks is another one I'm looking at the 2 in Detroit. Corey Joseph's out. Marvin Bagley's out. I like what Burks brings to the table. Sadiq Bey's been streaky, right? He has that big game, and yeah, Jaden Ivey too. I think that backcourt's going to be solid. Ty Washington and Alperen Şengün, I would consider stacking in a slate like this even. So keep that in mind. Lonzo Ball for the Chicago Bulls is out. Javonte Green's out. Goran Dragic looks like a game time decision. Looks like he'll be good to go though. Ayo Dosunmu is going to be starting. A solid matchup there against Orlando. I think a lot of points will be put up in this one. Over under is 230.5. So yeah, relatively they agree with me. The odds makers do, but mainly looking in this one, guys like DeMar DeRozan, Levine, Dosunmu for Chicago, whatever position you really need there. Orlando, not looking too much at these guys. Potentially Paolo Banchero, but otherwise not really looking at Orlando today in a bigger slate like this. A lot of games going on. Clippers and Atlanta. We have John Wall, Robert Covington, and Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris being the game time decision on the defensive play-in. Covington and Wall both out. Kawhi and Paul George are playing, so you're not going to see that Ivica Zubac or that Terrence Mann value you usually see. Makes me a little hesitant of taking those guys in this one. I think there's better value out there. So my suggestions, it's going to sound kind of lame, but Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. There's your suggestions for Los Angeles. If I had to choose one, I would go Paul George. I think his matchup, depending on who defensively, is going to be a lot more appealing. And DeAndre Hunter is going to be guarding Kawhi most of the game. Is my take on that. But let's go to Washington and New Orleans. More value in this one. Zion is out. EJ Liddell's out. Dyson Daniels out. Brandon Ingram is back. He played 25 minutes last game. I think his minutes are going to be up this game. I don't think he's going to be on another minutes restriction. So Brandon Ingram is probably going to be the guy I'll suggest for New Orleans. You can get him on a lot of versatility as well. Herb Jones as well. I think that's another good guy at the 4. But with Washington, probably not going to be suggesting anyone here. Not really. Maybe Bradley Beal. I think there's better options though, so I'd stay away from Washington here on Saturday. With Sacramento and Minnesota playing back-to-back here. Probably same 5 as yesterday is what I anticipate. Sacramento, no injury reports on them. Shocker, that's over-under is 238 points, which is a lot. So, points are going to be put up in this one, I think. Anthony Edwards had a big game yesterday. I'm probably looking here at Rudy Gobert. Another center option, I go Gobert. And then also for Sacramento, I'm looking at De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter. I'm looking at the backcourt with the Kings. We have a lot of injuries here in this Phoenix San Antonio game, starting with Booker out, Crowder out, Payne out, and Landry Shamet out. So Chris Paul seems to be that steady, safe bet in this game. So I would keep him in mind. Otherwise, Mikal Bridges. I just think defensively, I think there's some good opportunity for Bridges, Paul, and Ayton. Yeah, I just took the top 3 players on that team right now with Booker out. But honestly, I think those are going to be guys you want in your lineup. Vassell is still out. Leads me to always suggest Keldon Johnson. I love what Keldon Johnson brings to this team. I think he'll be a good bet. I also think Jakob Poeltl, if you need a center, last minute could be a good option. We're going to take a break from that, though, and we're going to talk about today's sponsor, Point Brewery. Yes, we have the root beer here. Point Diet Root Beer. Well, you can hear it. There it is. Point Root Beer. And what Point Root Beer is, you might be wondering, where is that? Right? Point Diet Root Beer. It comes right from Wisconsin here. It's made right here in Wisconsin at the Stevens Point Brewery. Right? It's a soda here, and it's really good. I mean, that's how I'd explain it. It's handcrafted in small batches using the purest water, all natural vanilla, and root beer flavors. Plus, I mentioned it's diet. 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 caffeine. It's rich, creamy, and fun. Point Craft soda. Again, caffeine-free. And it's made. This one has no sugar, but if you get the one that's not diet, we'll have the 100% real sugar. And again, it's very good. Drink Point Brewery root beer today. Again, thank you to them for sponsoring today's video and providing the root beer here. So let's get back here to the games, and I'll be enjoying my Point Brewery root beer while watching today's games. But we got Lakers and Boston here coming up, and of course, when you see those 2 teams face off, that game's going to be aired somewhere where everyone can see it. And with it, we got the Lakers injury report, Reeves out, LeBron and Lonnie Walker game time decisions. And then Anthony Davis also a game time decision. I personally think LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to play. But it's going to be interesting to see who they throw out in the backcourt. I'm not sure what we're going to see from the Lakers tonight. I expect something like Schroeder and Pat Bev, right? Patrick Beverly there. Troy Brown possibly at the 3. Depends if Hachimura gets in. I'd imagine he's going to take kind of Brown. So that's why I'm not going to say Troy Brown is value tonight. I do think Dennis Schroeder, potentially. We have to monitor LeBron and AD. I think they're going to play. So that leads me to, I'll probably suggest LeBron. No, I'd go Anthony Davis over LeBron. Depends again on salary. Check that out. But Smart's out. Gallinari's out for Boston. That means Derek White is your guy. It's either Derek White or Malcolm Brogdon. I'll go Derek White. I think he'll get the starting nod as well. If you want value, here's another game. Dallas and Utah. Right now we have Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Christian Wood. All three of them out. Luka out again with that ankle injury. Hopefully he gets back, gets well soon, as well with all the guys I've mentioned here so far, and I will be mentioning. But yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway, and Josh Green. Those three are going to be the three who are going to get more minutes because of this, right? Luka's playing 40 minutes a night. That's 40 minutes people have to take up. So when you look at DFS, you're looking for value like that. Dinwiddie, Hardaway, and Josh Green are going to provide that. Also, Kelly Olynyk's a game time decision. I don't know if he's going to play. So, potentially Walker Kessler could be an option. But, defensively, this is going to be a tough game for Dallas. You got to like what Conley and Clarkson bring in this one. But I'd probably go Dinwiddie, Hardaway in this game if you're looking for some backcourt. And potentially Walker Kessler for Utah. I want to see what Olynyk's status is, so I'm going to just wait on that. Last game here, Toronto and Portland. In this one, we have Fred VanVleet. He's good to go. He's playing tonight. A big game yesterday. OG Anunoby is a game-time decision for Toronto. Keep that in mind when you're making your lineups. Otherwise, it looks like everyone's going to be good to go. I like Gary Trent in this one at the 2 for Toronto. He's got a good matchup defensively. This Portland backcourt is not known for defense. And I think he's going to be able to have a lot of opportunity in this one. Portland, then, Yusuf Nurkic, game-time decision. Josh Hart, also game-time decision. Winslow is out. So in this one, I'm looking, there's some value, right? I mean, there's again, Lillard and Simons, depending on price. I just like the backcourt from both squads, but I would take Trent, and there's some other backcourt guys who I would take the nod over, or who would get the nod over these guys in Portland. I'm going to go here, talk some value here. Shocker, a lot of your value is going to come from that Dallas game because of exactly what I mentioned. Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, those guys right away come to mind. Again, I mentioned Dwight Powell. I think there's a better center options. I think Rudy Gobert I'd take over Powell. So keep that in mind. Depending on price, right? If Brogdon's cheaper than Derek White and you want to take Brogdon, go for it. I think that's exactly what I would do. So I think they're going to be hovering around similar minutes, but I do like, again, that White got the nod starting. But again, it doesn't matter who starts, matters who finishes those games. Şengün, Alperen Şengün, still going to be some good value. Mike Conley with Utah. I mentioned the defense, that lack thereof for Dallas right now, and I think that's going to be a plus. De'Aaron Fox, we talked about him. He's got a good matchup. Plus, I believe that's with Minnesota. So that again is why we're suggesting those Sacramento, Minnesota. I think a winning lineup is going to include some players in that game, not just one, multiple. So check that out. I think that's gonna wrap it up here for the value plays. I can give a couple more. John Collins potentially, depending on the price you're going to get him for with Atlanta. Again, Atlanta, there's no injury designations for anyone, but Collins has played very well. And I think Collins will be a crucial part of that offense tonight. So I think that's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg. Again, my official lineup will be posted on all social media platforms. And again, go check Point Brewery out. They'll be tagged on social media. You can go find them there at Point Brewery. But that'll wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow night for episode 99 of Drew's Sports Crew. Yeah, episode 99. We're almost there. Episode to triple digits. They're episode 100 coming up soon here. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.